What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy, Chaos here, and today I'm continuing my ranking of my favorite Pokemon of each type. This list comes from my experiences playing through the Pokemon franchise over the past several years. The order of this series is based on my least favorite type to my most favorite type, and I will be covering all of the 18 types. A dual type Pokemon has consideration for both types it has because if a Pokemon is one of my favorites, there's no reason for me not to include it on both lists. And with all that being said, sit back and relax as we dive into the rock type. Number 10, Lunatone. Starting off this list, we have one of the most forgettable celestial rock types from the Hoenn region. Lunatone and Solrock are probably most known for being the signature Pokemon of Tate and Liza, the double gym leaders in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Lunatone was always a very interesting mon to me. I really liked its typing of rock and psychic type, and it paired really well with Levitate, which makes it pretty good. I also remember a Cypher admin having this Pokemon in Pokemon XD, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and I really like how the sprite had it orbit around in the game, kind of like, you know, a moon would orbit around the Earth. So I like that little nod to it, and I thought it was really interesting. I just think this Pokemon is an interesting one, and I really like it, and there's really not much more than that. Number 9, Magcargo. Magcargo fast! Yes, I primarily like Magcargo for the joke I make every time I see this thing. Magcargo has a very interesting Pokedex entry, which basically states, is as hot as the sun, which obviously isn't true since we're not all bursting into flames right now. But I'm a big fan of fire types, and the molten looking Pokemon of Magcargo really reminds me of a volcano, and I think it really suits this Pokemon well. Also, I don't really think there's any other way to make a fire rock type that has such a good design. I don't think I've ever used this Pokemon outside of my monotype fire team in Pokemon Omega Ruby, because Magcargo is really slow, and it's really not good in a battle scene. But I always did catch the Slugma in Pokemon Coliseum to use Yawn on other Shadow Pokemon in order to catch them. Number 8, Gigalith. Yes, I actually do pronounce Gigalith as Gigalith, even though it's not the official pronunciation. I primarily like this Pokemon because of its shiny, which is one of my favorite shiny Pokemon out there. There's really not anything special about the design of this Pokemon since it's literally just a pile of rocks, but I like how it is a pure rock type, which I know is weird, but many rock types in previous generations were also rock and ground types, which adds to its weakness of water and grass. And I just thought this thing was pretty unique being a pure rock type, and I really liked it for that reason. I also really like the usability of its abilities of this Pokemon, which makes it useful in a variety of situations and even on sand teams, and as a sand setter. Number 7, Lycanrock. Just to clarify, I am primarily speaking of Lycanrock Midday form, although all 3 forms are pretty okay in my opinion. I just prefer Midday, because I had Pokemon Sun. So Midday was my first experience using this Pokemon, and honestly my only experience, because I've never played through Pokemon Moon, I've never had a Lycanrock Midnight form, and I just recently acquired a Lycanrock Dust form, and I have yet to use it. So this is my only experience using the Lycanrocks. I really like the idea of a rock dog Pokemon. I also like how they made it feel like an Alolan Pokemon since they gave it unique evolutions depending on the game, or time of day. But what sold it for me is that I've used Lycanrock before, and it was a mainstay on my original team in Pokemon Sun. It was a very reliable team member, and I just really enjoyed using it on the team. I also am a major fan of its signature move, Accel Rock, which is a priority rock type move, which honestly is super awesome for this thing and hits like a frickin' truck. Number 6, Sudowoodo. I don't know why this thing has left such an impression on me. There's really no real reason why I like this thing, but I guess it might be because it looks like a tree and I like trees, because nature, but it's a gimmick, and maybe I like the gimmick of this idea, of this Pokemon. That's probably what it is for me. It's probably the gimmick of this thing looking like a tree and being used as a tree in a variety of different generations, as a roadblock in the Johto regions, as well as part of the trials in Alola. Sudowoodo also is the shadow Pokemon of Mirror B in Pokemon Colosseum, and I think part of the reason I also like it so much was because it was a massive problem for me early on in the game. It is a powerful Pokemon as is, and having the boost of being a shadow Pokemon makes it even more difficult to handle, especially when you're trying to catch it. You also can't deny this Pokemon has an incredibly awesome derpy face. Number 5. Minior. As you might have figured out, I have a fascination with space. I've always thought it was very interesting, and I even had a weird dream as a kid of becoming an astronaut one day. Minior was a unique Pokemon when I first saw it announced. I love the idea of it being different colors, especially since the shiny Pokemon has a black core, which is the collaboration of all colors. I really like its ability Shields Down. It's one of my favorite abilities out there. It allows Minior to set up while it is defensive in its shielded form, and then it can sweep once the shields get broken off after it's taken half of its health to damage. I also really liked using Minior the few times in battling that I've used it in a competitive scene on Showdown, and as well as in my playthrough. I really like the typing of this Pokemon. I think a Rock and Flying type is such a cool and unique typing, and it does work out pretty well for me. Number 4. Aerodactyl. Yeah, I know I just mentioned that Rock and Flying is a unique typing, and then I add another Rock Flying type, but I like the typing a lot, so let me have this one. Of course, I had to include the OG fossil Pokemon. Aerodactyl is incredibly menacing. It also is based off of my favorite dinosaur, the Pterodactyl, which gives it bonus points in my case. This thing is incredibly fast, and it is very powerful, making it a massive threat against any of its opponents. It also has a pretty powerful Mega Pokemon, which actually makes it more of a rock type since it has stones jutting out of it. I also really liked how Mega Aerodactyl was kind of the entire meta of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. If you ever tried to do any battles in there, it was really difficult to deal with yourself unless you had one. So 100% was one of the most common Pokemon out there. There's a few different ways to use Aerodactyl on a team, which makes it versatile in my opinion. And even though this Pokemon has been shown for its angry force of destruction in the past, especially in the anime, I really have liked it and have enjoyed using it on my teams. Number 3. Aggron. I wasn't a big fan of Aggron for most of my Pokemon career. I honestly didn't even know it existed until recently. I always caught an Aeron in Generation 3, but I don't think I ever fully evolved this Pokemon. As I said, I didn't really know Aggron existed that much. This thing looks actually incredibly powerful and terrifying. And I never really consider this thing as a massive threat for anything because it has 2 4x weaknesses, both the ground and the fighting. But what really sold this Pokemon for me was its Mega form, Mega Aggron. It becomes a pure Steel type, and as well, it gets Filter, which minimizes its weaknesses. I had a Mega Aggron in Season 2 of the PDL on my Rain team, and it solidified its place on my team as a premier hazard setter that easily tanked a +6 attack Shadow Claw from a Mimikyu, and then proceeded to OHKO it in the same turn, which, just speaks volumes to the power of Aggron, as well as the defensive capabilities. This thing is incredibly powerful, but without my experience using it in Draft League and that one really good memory of using it to set up and beat a team, I can say I probably wouldn't enjoy it, and it probably wouldn't be on this list. Number 2. Rhydon. This is another Pokemon that I really haven't used too much. I like the concept of Rhydon since it was basically the first designed Pokemon, and also is a pretty good generic look of a Pokemon. It also does kind of remind me of the statues in the Pokemon Gym, and I still really want a statue Pokemon, so Game Freak, please get on that. But this thing is literally everywhere, according to if you think it looks like the statue Pokemon. I really didn't get much thought about this Pokemon when I fought it against Giovanni. Being a rock ground type, it easily went down to either a water type move or a grass type move. But it was until I used one that I really started to like it. I honestly think Rhydon is a better version of Rhyperior. And I know that's a little weird since Rhyperior is the final evolution. But Rhydon is better since it can become incredibly tanky if you slap an Eviolite on it. The other thing about Rhydon is it gets stupid coverage moves, like it can learn Surf, for crying out loud. Like, who gives a rock Surf? Is it like a floating rock? I don't know. Like, somebody please explain how this thing gets Surf. I have no idea, but I really like that about it. As I said, I didn't really appreciate this Pokemon until I used it. I did draft Rhydon one season for the Premier Draft League, and it was a really good Stealth Rocks user for me. It also was incredibly powerful on offense as well, meaning it could take a hit and then dish back some damage to my opposing team before it got knocked down. I got my first playthrough use of this Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu, as I wanted to build a team that I hadn't used before, and Rhydon was the obvious choice for my rock and ground type coverage because I'd used every other ground type and every other rock type in a playthrough of one game or another. Rhydon was the only one I had not used. It again proved its worth on my playthrough team as I really enjoyed using it and was a very powerful asset to the team. Finally, number 1, Tyranitar. When I think of rock-type Pokemon, I automatically think of Tyranitar. I love seeing the art of this Pokemon as it can look incredibly cute, but it also can look incredibly menacing. You see the variance in Tyranitar in Pokemon Forever. It is used as a Dark Tyranitar in order to cause mayhem to catch Celebi. But there's also a scene where Tyranitar looks really sad and really cute, and I really love that scene. And yeah, I think I prefer cute Tyranitar over angry, scary Tyranitar. But yeah, I like it. Tyranitar might not have the best typing in the world, being quite effective to some of the most common offensive typings, as well as weak to other ones, but it's incredibly powerful when it is used correctly. I also like how Tyranitar has made a presence in the current Sword and Shield VGC, being, used on sand teams, as well as taking use of weakness policy to make it even more powerful and terrifying. I generally like the design of this Pokemon. It looks like some kind of reptilian rock Godzilla monster thing, and man, is it awesome. So it's easily my favorite rock type Pokemon. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my favorite rock types. Let me know what your favorite rock type Pokemon is in the comments section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to help out the channel and YouTube's ever-changing algorithm. Really, it does mean a lot to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content, because YouTube will push the video more, as well as leaving a like or even commenting. So feel free to let me know your favorite rock type down below. Also, feel free to check me out on other social media platforms such as Twitter, Discord, and Twitch for live content and more ways to interact with me and the channel. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Chaos, signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.